10 years ago, nobody would have guessed this matchup. The Prius used to be the punchline of the car world. Boxy, slow, and driven by people who really loved bumper stickers. The Ioniq 6 didn't even exist, and now these two are the face of what efficient actually looks like. Toyota's Prius has gone from dorky to downright sleek. It's got the same name, but that's about it. This new version is lower, wider, and finally something you wouldn't mind being seen in. Meanwhile, Hyundai's Ioniq 6 comes in like a spaceship. Fully electric, ultra smooth, and just weird enough to turn heads without looking like it's trying too hard. Both are built for the future, but the path they take is totally different. The Prius sticks with what works, gas and electric working together. You fill it up like normal, drive it like normal, and it just sips fuel the whole time. The Ioniq 6, it ditches gas completely. No tailpipe, no oil changes, no gas station stops, just electrons and silence. That's appealing, until you hit a dead public charger in the middle of nowhere. And this is where it gets interesting. The Prius is practically a mechanic's favorite. Cheap to run, easy to fix, and known to pass 200,000 miles without blinking. The Ioniq 6 is still too new for a real track record, but early signs point to solid build quality and a whole lot of software. We're gonna break down which one actually makes more sense, not just on paper, but in real-world driving, daily annoyances, road trips, resale value, and what you'll hear from mechanics after year 2. If you're shopping for a smart, modern ride and trying to pick between hybrid and EV, this is the matchup that really matters. Hyundai didn't just make an EV with the Ioniq 6, and they made a statement. From the side profile alone, you can tell they weren't going for safe. The sloped roofline, smooth curves, pixel LED taillights, it's all a nod to retro aero design with a futuristic twist. And in a sea of boxy crossovers trying to be everything for everyone, that bold styling matters. The Ioniq 6 looks like something designed for the next decade, not the last one. It's one of the few electric cars that actually turns heads at a stoplight, and not in a confused way. Slide inside, and you'll notice Hyundai's shift toward minimalism. There's a full-width dual-screen setup with crisp graphics and quick response time. But here's the thing. While it looks futuristic, it's not all perfect. Some drivers complain about the lack of physical climate controls. Instead of knobs, you're tapping glossy black touch panels, which can be a pain when you're trying to make a quick change on the move. Still, the overall cabin design feels premium for the price point, and there's a sense of calm and space that sets it apart from the usual tech overload. You even get ambient lighting with customizable color themes, something more common in luxury brands than mid-tier EVs. Performance-wise, the Ioniq 6 offers a few different versions, but even the standard rear-wheel drive model feels zippy around town. It's not a sports car, but that instant EV torque gives it a light, eager feel off the line. Step up to the dual-motor all-wheel drive model, and you're looking at under 5 seconds to 60, quick enough to surprise passengers and leave traffic behind. Plus, thanks to the low drag coefficient, it's one of the most aerodynamic cars on sale today, which helps both range and efficiency. But more importantly, it's smooth, quiet, composed. Whether you're in city traffic or out on a weekend highway cruise, this thing glides. The suspension soaks up bumps nicely, and the low center of gravity from the battery pack means it handles turns without leaning like a boat. That's one of the biggest perks of EV design, and Hyundai's done a good job dialing it in here. Range. The single motor version can get over 350 miles if you're gentle, and even if you're not, most drivers find themselves charging just once or twice a week. The dual motor drops a bit of range, but adds power. Either way, it supports 800-volt charging, meaning you can juice up from 10% to 80% in under 20 minutes if you find a working fast charger. That last part is important though. Public charging still isn't perfect, and while Hyundai gives you a nice app and some credits to start, your experience may vary depending on where you live. Cold weather can also cause noticeable dips in range. Not unique to the Ioniq, but worth knowing. Mechanically, there's not much for owners to deal with. No oil changes, no transmission, just tire rotations, brake fluid here and there, and the occasional software update. Hyundai's EVs haven't been around long enough to have a long-term reliability verdict, but so far the Ioniq 5 and 6 have held up well in early ownership reports. Hyundai also gives you a 10-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty, which gives some peace of mind if you're nervous about going all electric. Most mechanics say the biggest issue they see early on is tire wear. That instant torque can chew through rubber if you're heavy on the pedal. Still, there are a few trade-offs. The sleek roofline cuts into rear headroom, and and the trunk space isn't as usable as you'd think for such a long car. The front seats are great, but tall passengers in the back might feel cramped. And while the tech is impressive, it can be a little too locked into touch controls for some people's taste. But big picture, the Ioniq 6 is a genuinely solid EV, not just for its price, but for how well-rounded it is. It looks cool, drives great, charges fast, and avoids the cheap-feeling plastic interiors that plague other EVs in its class. It's the kind of car that feels custom-built for daily commuting, road tripping, or even just showing off something different. If you're ready to go full electric and you want something distinct, this is one of the best options on the road right now. For a car that once defined boring but efficient, the new Prius feels like a full-on redemption arc. Toyota didn't just refresh it, they gave it a total makeover. It's lower, wider, sharper, and finally, cool. Even longtime Prius skeptics have had to admit this redesign actually looks good. The sharp headlights, fastback roofline, and big wheels give it a sleek, almost sporty stance. It's the kind of hybrid that doesn't look like a compromise anymore. It just looks good. Under the hood, or rather under the hood and in the floor, is Toyota's 5th generation hybrid system. And yes, it still sips gas like a seasoned hypermiler, getting up to 57 miles per gallon in the base model. But this time, it actually moves 0 to 60 takes around 7 seconds, a full 2 seconds faster than the last generation. It's not going to win drag races, but merging onto the highway or passing slow traffic doesn't feel like a gamble anymore. This is the first Prius where slow isn't the first word that comes to mind. Inside, things have taken a serious step up. There's a real driver-focused layout now with a central touchscreen, a digital display in front of the steering wheel, and a clean, layered dash that actually feels modern. Materials feel soft touch and high quality where it counts. And the overall vibe is more lifted Corolla than economy box. The seats are more supportive than before, a real improvement for long drives. Toyota even gave it an available fixed glass roof and wireless phone charging, features that used to be reserved for their top tier trims. You still get Toyota's full safety sense suite standard. Things like adaptive cruise, lane keep assist, and automatic emergency braking, and the infotainment system has finally caught up to the competition. It's snappy, easy to use, and supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Plus, Toyota's voice commands actually work now. You don't have to shout, "Hey Toyota," 5 times just to change the temperature anymore. When it comes to the drive, this Prius feels far more composed than older models. The steering has a surprising amount of weight to it. The suspension is still tuned for comfort, but it doesn't wallow or lean in corners. In fact, it feels pretty planted for a front-wheel drive hybrid. The cabin is quieter too, with noticeably less road and wind noise compared to older Priuses. Toyota has clearly tried to make this more than just a gas saver. They made it something you might actually enjoy commuting in. Rear seat space is still decent, though the lower roofline means tall passengers might feel it in the back. Trunk space is usable, but like the Ioniq, it's more hatchback than SUV. You won't be loading up full camping gear, but for groceries, backpacks, or a weekend bag, it's solid, and if you fold the seats down, it opens up nicely. Reliability, that's Toyota's calling card. The hybrid system has been tested across millions of vehicles, and the new Prius is expected to be just as bulletproof. Maintenance costs are low, and parts are widely available. Mechanics say the main issue with Priuses, especially older ones, used to be the battery packs, but that's become far less common in recent years. Toyota now includes a 10-year hybrid battery warranty, which shows how confident they are in the tech. If there's a downside, it's the price. The new Prius, especially in XSE or limited trims, isn't exactly cheap anymore. You're paying for the design, the tech, and the MPG, and in some trims you're getting close to $35,000. But when you factor in how little gas it uses and how little maintenance it needs, it still makes a strong value case. At the end of the day, the new Prius isn't trying to be exciting, but it is trying to shed its image as the awkward eco box. And honestly, it's done a pretty great job. This isn't just a hybrid, it's a hybrid that no longer feels like a punishment. Charging is another split. The Prius doesn't need any of it. You fill up and go, just like a normal car. The Ioniq 6, while impressively fast to charge on a DC fast charger, does ask you to plan a bit more, especially if your city doesn't have a strong EV network yet. That one factor alone could swing your decision. In terms of resale value, the Prius has history on its side. It's been holding strong for decades. The Ioniq 6 is newer, less proven, and harder to predict, but that also means you might be able to score more incentives or future-proof yourself if EV demand keeps growing. Daily commuters, city drivers, or first-time hybrid buyers might lean toward the Prius. It just makes everything easy, but if you're tech-obsessed, live near chargers, or want something that stands out in a sea of SUVs, the Ioniq 6 might be your move. Both the Prius and Ioniq 6 were built to challenge what we expect from eco-focused cars, and depending on what you want out of a daily driver, they each hit the mark in very different ways. The Prius plays the long game. It's the king of efficiency, with real-world gas mileage that still turns heads, and Toyota's track record for reliability is hard to beat. It's a hybrid that finally looks the part. Stylish, smooth, and genuinely pleasant to drive. It makes sense for people who want low ownership costs, plug-free driving, and a nameplate they know will last over 200,000 miles without drama. But if you're ready to go full electric, the Ioniq 6 offers something the Prius can't. Silence. No engine, no shifting, no gas stations. The acceleration is instant, the torque is fun, and the design is unmistakably bold. You get tech that feels futuristic, and a cabin that's made for longer commutes or road trips. It's less about saving pennies on gas, and more about stepping into a fully modern daily driver. Tech-wise, Hyundai gives you more screens, more customization, and that minimalist vibe, especially up front with the twin digital panels. Toyota keeps it simpler, but more traditional, which some drivers might prefer. If you're switching from a sedan or compact SUV, the Prius won't feel like a huge learning curve. The Ioniq 6, on the other hand, feels like a full reset, in a good way. At the end of the day, the Prius feels like a smart upgrade to a classic idea, and the Ioniq 6 feels like it skipped a few steps and just built something from the future. Both are sleek, efficient, and shockingly good to drive, but one keeps your routine exactly the same, and the other dares you to change it up. Whichever one makes more sense for you, at least we're finally past the days where buying an efficient car meant giving up personality. Now you can have sharp looks, smooth driving, and a little fun too.